Here's a question I get literally every week. Do you actually need a realtor when buying a home? The short answer is nope. But the longer answer might surprise you, and it could save you from making a very, very expensive mistake. My family and I moved to Raleigh from Southern California 8 years ago, sight unseen. And in this business, I've seen firsthand what happens when people go without the right representation. Today, I'm sharing 2 real stories from a friend of mine in California who bought a $1.8 million home without a realtor, and one straight from my own client files involving new construction. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what you gain and what you risk. Now let's get into it. Let me elaborate on the quick answer first, because some of you just need the bottom line. When you're the buyer of a home, your real estate agent, which is your buyer's agent, does not get fully compensated out of your own pocket. That commission comes from the seller side mostly. The seller pays their listing agent, and they also cover most or part of the buyer's agent as part of the same deal. Typically, the total runs around 5 to 6% of the sales price of a home for the buyer's agent and the seller's agent getting paid. And here's the part most buyers completely miss. That money is already baked into the home's pricing. When the seller lists their home at around, let's just say, $400,000, they've already planned on paying both agents, because they want agents to show their home. So when you walk in without a buyer's agent, you're not pocketing that savings, which some people assume. The seller is keeping it. Then you gave up professional representation and get nothing in return. That's the part people don't figure out until after they've already signed. They're under the assumption they're going to get a better deal. Well, that's not the way that this process works. Now, before I get into the stories, real quick, if you're thinking about making a move to Raleigh or anywhere in the Triangle area and you want someone in your corner who actually knows this market, my team and I would love to connect. Call, text, or email me anytime. My information is right here on the screen, or you can check it out in the description box. Now, I will say there are more options today than there were 10 years ago by far. They have platforms like Open Door, OfferPad, and even Zillow has stepped into the space to make buying and selling more direct. The idea is that they take what would have been that traditional commission and reduce the cost by cutting out the agent layer entirely. And for certain types of transactions, quick sales, simple solutions, that can work. But here's what those platforms consistently can't replace: local knowledge, an actual human being who has walked the specific neighborhoods and suburbs, and someone who is genuinely in your corner on price and terms. And when there are challenges, because unfortunately there's always a few challenges with the house, and especially in North Carolina, where we are a caveat emptor state, buyer beware. So these are great for tools, not advocates. What brings me to a friend of mine in California. This guy is sharp, and I mean genuinely sharp. He negotiates for a living. When he found a $1.8 million home that he wanted, he figured, hey, I do this professionally every day. I don't need someone in the middle to negotiate for me. So he did. He went direct, negotiated hard, got a deal done, closed. End of story. By every measure, it was smooth, but, and that's a big but, 2 months later, after moving in, there was an electrical fire in the attic. His son was actually in the shower and did not hear it. The fire was blazing before anyone realized what had happened. By the time it was over, the house was 80% gone. His son almost didn't get out, but thank God he did. Way too close. Now, they've been out of that house for over a year and a half, rebuilding it and fighting and suing everyone and their mother to get their house rebuilt. Here's the thing, an experienced buyer's agent would have pushed hard on the electrical inspection, specifically because on a home at that price point and age, you definitely want to bring a licensed inspector. not just someone you know who saves you a few bucks just to tell you that the house is inspected and there's no red flags. That issue very likely would have been caught. The seller would have been on the hook to fix it or credit it before closing. So did he get a better deal without a realtor? He's been displaced from his home for 1.5 years. So honestly, I'll let you make that call. The second story hits even closer to home because it's one of my brother's friends that was a couple of hours away and out of our actual service area and market. I wanted to get them to one of our partners to help them, but they found a new construction house and they're like, I don't need to use an agent, I'll be fine. He told my brother, what do I need an agent? I'll save some money. They had purchased a new construction home, and like a lot of buyers in that situation, they went in without their own agent. The thinking is almost universal. It's brand new, what could go wrong? And the builder's representative seemed helpful. They answered every question, they walked them through everything. Well, what most people don't realize is that the builder's representative works for the builder. Wait, what did I just say? Full stop. Their job is to sell that home at the best terms for their employer, which isn't you. And whether or not you bring your own agent, the builder is not dropping that price just because of that. They're not giving you a better deal because you skipped representation. A lot of times that commission just stays in that employer's pocket. So these clients bought, moved in, love the home, great. Years go by. They come to me when it's time to sell to find them a partner in that area to assist. It gets listed, there's a buyer under contract, and then the buyer's inspection comes back with a major trust issue. That is a major structural issue. The kind of things that should have been caught during the construction phase with the right professional eyes in your corner. If they had a buyer's agent who understood new construction, a structural inspection would have been part of that process from the start. And then it's simple. The builder, while it's still under warranty at that point and before you close, would have been responsible for fixing it. Instead, the warranty had long expired. Then this $15,000 repair is now entirely on my clients. And the bad news is that buyer that was under contract, they walked. So it cost them a couple of monthly payments before they sold the house. On top of it, it was sold for a lower price because that trust issue is now a material fact that you must disclose to the next client. And then there's another scenario that catches most people off guard, and it has a name. It's called dual agency. And it's what Jeff and Karen walked into without fully realizing it. Here's how the system is supposed to work. You have your buyer's agent who is fighting to get you the best price. The seller has their listing agent fighting to get the seller top dollar. That natural tension between two professionals working for opposite sides is exactly what produces a fair deal. When both agents are competing for their own client, the friction protects you. Now, dual agency happens when one agent represents both the buyer and the seller in the same transaction. And what's the most common version of this? Well, an agent has a listing and then turns around and brings their own buyer or someone that they have in their pipeline to purchase it. Why would they do that? It's pretty simple. Instead of splitting the commission with a buyer's agent, they pocket both sides. It's called double in the deal, and it happens more than you think. In North Carolina, where we're at, it's legal, but it has to be disclosed in writing, and the conflict of interest is very real. Now think about it this way. If you told your agent your absolute ceiling that, hey, I'll go up to $350 if I have to. Now, you have to wonder, is that number still staying confidential, or does it quietly find its way to the other side of the negotiating table? That's the problem with one person trying to serve two clients. And it's exactly why some states have banned the practice altogether. Colorado outlawed dual agency in 2003, and a handful of other states have followed. Jeff and Karen's agent was great, attentive, showed them everything they asked for, very responsive, awesome. But what they didn't catch or understand was, did I get the best deal working with the same person who listed the house? The disclosure was in the paperwork, buried in the documents they signed without fully reading it. The negotiation felt smooth, maybe a little too smooth. Based on comparable sales in that neighborhood, there was probably $10,000 to $15,000 of room on that price. The clients, they came in at asking. Their agent didn't push hard on that. She was working both sides. Everything closed fine, but they likely overpaid and had no idea they even had that leverage. My honest advice, and this is something that I tell all of our clients, if your buyer's agent and the listing agent are one and the same, ask for a referral for someone who can advocate for your side. Or go in fully understanding that you may not have a complete advocate at the table. All right, let me give you 4 more reasons to use a dedicated buyer's agent when you're shopping in this market. And I'll keep these tight. First, they know what to ask. When you're walking through a home, there are questions you don't even know you should be asking. And the ones you miss can cost you. HOA restrictions, repair history, age in the mechanicals, the seller's motivation to move, whether the area has a history of flooding, and then how competitive the school district is. In the Triangle, flood zone designation alone surprises a lot of people relocating from out of state. A good buyer's agent is asking all of that before even getting emotionally attached to that place. We do this multiple times a month. You might do it twice or a few more times in your lifetime. That gap in experience is massive. Now, second, access before the competition sees it. In this Triangle market, a well-connected agent like us has relationships with listing agents across the Triangle, which includes Raleigh, Cary, Durham, Chapel Hill, all of it. That sometimes means seeing a home before it ever hits Zillow. And in a competitive pocket of the market, timing is absolutely everything. A home goes live on a Friday and has 10 offers by Sunday night. But if your agent gets a call Thursday evening from a listing agent, they know you're at a clean offer before the weekend bidding war even starts. That is not luck. That is the value of a buyer's agent with relationships in their local market. The third reason, the paperwork is no joke. There are dozens and dozens of pages in a real estate transaction, and one wrong move can cost you real money. Contingencies, inspection addendums, due diligence fees, appraisal clauses, closing disclosures, title review, all of it. In North Carolina specifically, the due diligence period has a very specific financial stake that can catch a lot of first-time buyers off guard. And if you back out at the wrong time or miss a deadline, you can forfeit that due diligence fee entirely, which could be a big mistake. A good agent tracks all of that like it's their job, because it is their job. They do this every single month and multiple times normally. Having them in your corner and walking you through each step is exactly what you're paying for. And remember, you're not actually paying for most of the commission in most cases for a buyer's agent. The seller is. 4, building a long-term relationship. If you find an agent you trust, hold on to them. When you're ready to sell 3 or 5 years down the road, they already know the home, they know the neighborhood, they know what you paid and what the market looks like right now. And the Triangle market changes. Neighborhoods, they shift. New developments come in, values move. An agent who has been with you since the purchase knows all of that context and is perfectly positioned to maximize your return when it's time to sell. Drop a hint when you buy. Hey, we love it here, though honestly, you never know where life takes us. And a good agent hears that as a future listing conversation. They're gonna take great care of you no matter what, at least a good one. But a listing or a referral or two in the future for them is priceless. Look, the bottom line is simple. When you're buying a home, you should have your own buyer's agent in your corner. It costs you almost nothing. The seller handles that commission. What you get in return is someone who knows this market cold, knows the paperwork, and is entirely focused on your outcome. My friend in California negotiated better than most people alive and still ended up out of his house for a year and a half because the right inspections weren't done. Then the clients that we knew bought brand new construction thinking, we're protected, and years later lost a deal over a structural problem the builder should have fixed the first time. And then remember Jeff and Karen who overpaid because they didn't totally understand dual agency. You don't have to be any of those people. The triangle market moves fast, and having the right guide in your corner makes the whole experience different. If you're thinking about buying in this area, reach out to me. My contact info is right here on the screen. Call, text, or email us anytime. But if you're still in research mode, no pressure. Make sure to subscribe so you can check out our weekly videos. Also, check out our sister channel, Life in Raleigh, NC, with hundreds of videos about houses, commute times, schools, restaurants, and so much more. Thanks for watching this video, and until next time, I'll catch you on the next one.